At least you get in the fights. At least you get in the fights. At least you get in the fights.
I put belt to ass, and you can see that's what I do.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents Something the Boxing Game's Missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Alright, so guys, we have a lot of videos to make. So whatever I haven't talked about over the last week or so, 2 weeks or so, I'm going to talk about it and get the videos out. So the videos are going to be pumping. The content's going to be flowing out here like a waterfall. Make sure you guys definitely keep it, very, very close, because you might get like 10, 20 videos in like a couple days span. It's going to be one of those type of runs here on True School Sports. But I want to come out the box swinging with an important video, an important topic, an important event to discuss, because as you guys know, this weekend out there in Norfolk, Virginia, you got the businessman himself, Keyshawn Davis, defending his WBO lightweight title against the very dangerous Evan De Los Santos. Now, on the undercard of that, you got Abdullah Mason, who continues his upward trajectory as quite possibly the best. I don't even want to say a prospect, because he's not a prospect anymore, but he's in the discussion as being the best fighter in boxing under the age of 22, under the age of 23. He's very, very advanced for his age, and a lot of people, myself included, had very high hopes for the young kid from Cleveland, Ohio. Now, Mason has done a lot in a very short time. Credit the Top Rank. They kept him very active. They kept him very busy. He's done it the right way. He's done it the honest way. He's done it the very, very steady way. Because Abdullah Mason, he turned pro, what was it, like 4 years ago? I believe 2021 he turned pro. In a little bit less than 4 years, this is going to be his 19th professional fight, and he's taking on Jeremiah Nakatilia. So Nakatilia, veteran, can punch, been in there with guys like Shakur Stevenson, Ernesto Mercado, and a lot of guys. Mason still has to pass that test. Keyshawn still has to get past Evan De Los Santos. But what really stole the show, guys, and I got to give my tip of the cap to Christina Pancha, because Christina Pancha is a legend, in boxing media. And she kind of played the role of matchmaker. She asked Abdullah, are you here to fight? Is Keyshawn Davis eventually a fight you want? And to that, Abdullah respectfully said, yes, that's what I'm here for. And Abdullah is number 2 in the WBO rankings, just behind Sam Noakes. So I don't know if there will be a final eliminator to determine who's the mandatory, or if Top Rank will just outright let Keyshawn fight Abdullah. But once he said that, Keyshawn Davis was on smoke. Keyshawn Davis made it very clear. He's like, are you gonna put that? Are you gonna put that together? Like, are you gonna do it? Because Abdullah started talking about his team and whatnot, and Keyshawn wasn't trying to hear none of that. He was like, yo, are you gonna put it together? Because you don't want the smoke. And Abdullah said, I don't want to talk to you right now. And Keyshawn said, I bet you don't. So the optics of it makes it look like Keyshawn Davis punked Abdullah Mason. But the reality is, Abdullah Mason is not a talker. One of you guys ever heard Abdullah Mason talk shit to anybody? I mean, I'll let you guys in on some information here. I know Abdullah Mason's dad, Valiant Mason, pretty good. I've had the opportunity to spend time around the Mason family. They're lovely people. One thing that Abdullah Mason's dad, Valiant, has always told his son is that boxing will dictate who you fight. Meaning that you can do all the talking you want, but what happens in the ring will ultimately determine what fights are going to be the big ones in the future, right? So that's no different here. Mason got to beat Nakatilia, and Keyshawn got to beat De Los Santos. Otherwise, we ain't going to get no damn Mason versus Keyshawn fight. But I find it very interesting from Keyshawn, because, Keyshawn Davis, I love him. He's probably one of my favorite. Like, Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis are 2 of my favorite American fighters right now. Just point blank period. I think they both got dynamic styles. I like what they both bring to the table and they both bring to the sport. I want to see this fight. I really, really do. Do I think it's too early for Abdullah Mason? Not really. Abdullah Mason he might be 21, but I don't view him as a 21-year-old fighter. And he's got more fights than Keyshawn Davis. And yes, he hasn't fought the level of veterans. He doesn't have the Olympic pedigree that Keyshawn has, but he's got a big pedigree. He's had a lot of high-level sparring. I don't think that fight is as far away as people think it is. And, I think Keyshawn Davis is actually being smart to press the issue now with Abdullah Mason, because really and truthfully, you better get him now, because if you wait, a year and a half, 2 years, you might not have no chance, honestly, because Abdullah Mason he's got some things defensively he has to clean up. We saw that in the Johan Vasquez fight after he got dropped a couple of times. But man, Abdullah Mason can box, he can punch, he's got a great ability to finish, and I think that's actually stylistically a very amazing fight because Abdullah he can be the aggressive counter puncher, but he could also lead the exchanges. I think Keyshawn can do those same things too, but I would actually say Keyshawn probably is a more front foot dominant fighter than Mason. Mason kind of looks to counter and then he leads off of the counters. But that's a very dynamic fight. That's a very intriguing fight. But to anybody out there saying that Abdullah Mason got punked, I don't think he got punked. I mean, it's not in his nature. Like some guys just aren't talkers. He's not a talker. Keyshawn Davis is probably one of the best trash talkers in boxing. So ultimately, look, boxing will dictate what the big fights at lightweight wind up being. And if they both take care of business, I don't see why this fight doesn't happen. I don't think it happens this year in 2025, but I don't see why this fight can't happen in 2026. You know, when you look at the landscape right now, Gervonta Davis, he's got to fight Lamont Roach. We got to see if he even gets through Lamont Roach. Maybe he winds up fighting, Shakur or Keyshawn in 2026, but we don't know. He has to get past Lamont Roach first. Raymond Murataya just got awarded the belt because Lomachenko just retired, right? Because he was the interim champion, so he's the full champion now. And Keyshawn Davis has already said that he don't want to fight Raymond Murataya because, he's not interested in paying another sanctioning fee for Raymond Murataya, which could be classified as a duck. And I'm not even mad if anybody says it is a duck because they call him the businessman, so I guess he's just being a very on-brand fighter. But no, that could definitely be classified as a duck. He's at a stage now, Keyshawn Davis, where you got to fight the other champions in your weight class, and Murataya is one of the easiest champions to fight in your weight class. So there's no sense in calling out Gervonta Davis when you know the Top Rank and PBC aren't going to make that fight happen. Murataya is a more makeable fight. You're shooting it down. So that being said, I don't see many fights out there better for Keyshawn Davis than Abdullah Mason, because he's shooting out Raymond Murataya. Tank still has to get through the road. We don't know. I don't think PBC would do that fight with Keyshawn Davis. And then he's already made it very clear. I mean, Shakur Stevenson has at least, that they're like brothers. They're friends. They're not going to fight each other. So, I would like to see them fight each other, but, they've already both made it clear that they don't want to fight each other, which I think is corny. And I think one of them should move up or down or just get out the weight class. Because if you can't be friends with guys that got belts in the weight class, I think it's corny. And I know I'm not alone on that. So with that being said, Mason versus Keyshawn Davis is quickly becoming one of the fights to make in the lightweight division. I think today, Christina Poncher and the fine folks at Top Rank did a great job of throwing a lot of gasoline on that. I don't know who would win that fight, to be honest with you. Right now, just because of experience, you probably lean a little bit. I would say I would lean slightly towards Keyshawn Davis, but I think it's not like a 60-40 fight. I think Mason is already right there with Keyshawn Davis, not too far off Keyshawn Davis. They both got their vulnerabilities. Mason got dropped a couple times against Vasquez. Keyshawn got hurt and buzzed against Nahir Albright. So you kind of seen for both these fighters already in their careers what the weaknesses they have that could be exploited. And so when you start to look at the past weaknesses and vulnerabilities they show in past fights and then look at what they do well that could exploit those weaknesses, it becomes a really intriguing fight. I like them both. I'm a huge fan of both. I like Mason a lot, so I would like to see Mason get the job done if they do fight. But, I'm a big Keyshawn Davis fan too. So at this point, look, it's in the lightweight division. I just want to see these fights happen, particularly with, the young fighters. I think we're transitioning into a new era where, Top Rank for a while, we've been seeing the Xander Zayas and the Keyshawn Davis and the Abdullah Masons and the Shushu Carringtons and Richard Torres. Like, that whole crop of the young guys from Top Rank, now they are maturing to contenders, into champions. And now it's time to sink or swim, put up or shut up, and let's see who's who. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on today's exchange between Keyshawn Davis and Abdullah Mason. Let me know what you guys think. Who are you guys favoring? I know a lot of people are saying Keyshawn would wash Abdullah because Abdullah's too young, but I don't think Abdullah's too young. I think Abdullah probably just needs, not including this fight coming up, probably like one more fight, and I think he'd be ready for. I think he could fight Keyshawn Davis realistically by this time next year, and it would be a very winnable. I think it's a very winnable fight for him. I think it's a pick 'em fight by this time next year. Right now, I would say it's like a 56 60-44 fight in favor of Keyshawn because Abdullah is still got a little bit too defensively leaky. Got to get more experience, get some higher level opponents in there. But, you know, 2 more fights and he's there. By the middle of next year, I think he's fully ready for that fight. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you could hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. And we got a monster in town. For more great boxing content from America to Japan and everywhere else in between, make sure you guys subscribe, stay tuned, and keep it locked.